That was quick. That was really quick. What's going on, guys? We are back at the start of summer and enjoying a fresh look at the Ox64 by Pine64. This is their tiny computer, which started a bit of a game changer, and it's been a hot minute since we first looked at these, so I thought I'd do another video and we can see what's changed, because honestly that last video went stupid, insane popular. It was interesting. So this is the unit itself, which is about the size of 2 stamps and is quite powerful. As we looked at before, it's got a bit of RAM, a bit of CPU, a bit of input-output, different power options, takes an SD card and all of that. And it was primarily supported by the community. 1 second, autofocus. No, that's not it. There you go. It's primarily supported by the community, and they've released version 1.0.1, but then they've just kind of gone stale, and I'm a bit disappointed. Like, this inspired the Milk-V Duo and so many other great products, and the BL808 SDK is still being developed, but they've stopped for some reason. So I'd like to say, come on, we want to see some more from this. It is very, very capable. We'll look at what they've done though. The first thing I do want to say though is a big thank you to PCBWay. I've been using them more recently, and they've graciously offered to sponsor this video to some degree, just, you know, if I talk nicely about them. And honestly, I would anyway. They make some good products. I've used them for some products that you can buy from my online shop, but they do rigid and flexible PCBs, PCB assembly, 3D printing, CNC milling, stencils for SMD soldering, prototype PCBs. They've got discounts. I'll put a link below to my referral thing. You get like $5 off your first order. But as you can see, if you have a look at their capabilities, they do absolutely heaps of stuff. Now, what I haven't used them for before is PCB design, which I'm considering because I'm not great at it. But also, I've just done an order with them for some PCB assembly, because I get very tired of assembling PCBs myself, especially with a lot of little components. And I'm doing a RGB LED board based on WS2812Bs, and I didn't want to solder 1,000 LEDs on. So I've ordered that from them. I'd just like to say thanks. They make a great product. Their communication, their quality, their little bonus systems, their giveaways, it's all excellent. So thank you, PCBWay. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to this video if you like it, because, you know, the YouTube algorithm does all those things that makes dopamine get produced in my brain, which is really good. And it supports the channel, which supports me, so I can put things like more of these in stock on my store. So if you want to have a look below, there's a link to my web store. I keep these in stock in Australia, so if you're nearby, like New Zealand or, I don't know, whatever the hell's off the coast, I can get these to you cheap. I'm buying them in bulk, so the postage is more efficient, and then you can buy them from me. And I've just got like $2 markup on each one to cover my time, because it is a bit of a pain in the hole to look after it. Now, everyone's asking about Ethernet. Ethernet's been a big question. Well, Ethernet ain't here. It's unfortunate. Look, the long and the short of it is that build route seems to have something to do with it. I'm not sure why, but one of the devs was working with Yocto, and I think they managed to get it working 10 megabit. But with build route, they got 100 megabit, but transmit, not receive, or vice versa. I'm not too sure of the full story, but it wasn't working. So it looks like it's being moved into a hardware module now, akin to what the Milk-V Duo is doing. And I'm not sure what form that's going to take, because the first one that I heard floating around out there didn't work. As expected, it's the first build, it's a prototype, so hoping to see that soon. At the same time, though, what hasn't really been considered is that these do have Wi-Fi built into them. And the latest build of BL808 Linux from Buffalo Labs has it enabled now. So there's some active work being done to bring that back into the OpenBouffalo build, which is what Pine64 is running, and we'll have a look at that. But I mean, if you got Wi-Fi, who needs Ethernet, right? It's big and clunky, and transmitting over there is just a lot easier. So in 1.0.1, let's jump back over to the computer here, and we're just going to have a look at their releases, because they have done a little bit of work, which is pretty good. The first and foremost is supporting DTP overlays, which means it can support, or their builds can support, more than just Pine64, such as the M1S dock, which I might do another video on. I've got one of those too. They also added xlinux.conf support, which makes it, again, a little bit more modular, allows you to do more things with a single build, not have to recompile and reflash it each time. So great work there, guys. Just do some more of it. As we can see, this is back in March. This is 6 months ago now. That's pretty slow. There was also the build before that where they finally got up to kernel 6.2. Huge improvement, great appreciated. U-boot support and everything like that bumped up the MCU SDK that they're using. So they made some really good progress, and it is still being chipped away at. If you have a look at the commits, well, nothing recently updated the README. The closest here was adding some packages. But if we have a look at the official repo here, there is stuff still being added, and it's, I don't even know where it is, but I did see the commit about the Wi-Fi. Maybe it was in here somewhere now. Well, look, that's at least a recent commit. We're in October now, so there's a bit more going on in the official, but then in the actual MCU is where they're pushing out most of their changes, of course. And then the MCU is what's going to be poured into all the others. So you can see a fair bit going on there. And I don't know, I can't be asked with GitHub right now. Now, I thought I'd try compiling it myself just to see how it goes, see if there's anything different going on. This one right now is actually currently running the BL808 build that I tried to compile and get working, and I ran the little script to switch the pins, but it keeps crashing. I'll quickly show you that in case any of you know what it is. I essentially just grabbed the raw build, ran the script to make it compatible with the M1S, which essentially means the output is on 1516 over here, as opposed to being on the pins that the Ox64 uses for USB-C. But it crashes, doesn't work. So I ended up doing a custom compile of the OpenBouffalo build, and that worked a treat. I'll show you that because I do have some curiosities about it. But I'll just quickly show you as well. I found this Arduino BL808. And I'm not sure exactly how they're going to achieve that, but they just bailed on that so quickly. I didn't even know about it in my last video. So I did a bit of digging, and I found there is actually an official Arduino core. Now, so far they've only got the BL616. They don't have the 808 in here, but it looks like they have been doing some cool stuff, and this is all really recent. So if they can make the BL808 accessible from within the Arduino ecosystem, I think that'll make a huge difference. That'll expand how many people are able to use these chips, especially when, if some overlays get added for the Pine 64 and even M1S, that'll be game changing. So let's jump back to the computer now. And as you can see, I've just got some 5-volt and ground power here. And these are the pins that you use when you're flashing it. So I'm going to pull up PuTTY. We'll jump onto COM7 with 2 million baud and power cycle this. And you can see there, the E907 core is spitting out from those. That looks right. Now, if we swap over to pins 15 and 16, which is what the C906 is going to be outputting, power cycle it, whoops, don't knock the pins off. See if I can even get them back on the right way around. Power cycle it again. You can see C906 start. It attempts to load Linux. We wait a moment. Enjoy a cold one. Australia, summer, you know how it goes. And it crashes. I don't know the cause of that. And as this beer is disgusting, Jesus. And as best I can figure, the Linux kernel is still outputting to some other pins. I just haven't taken the time to figure out which ones because it's crashing. It's no huge point. Oh, that's a later me problem. So what I want to have a look at now is something that stuck out a little bit odd to me. I was looking at the Ox64 wiki and the build instructions here because I was gonna, if I had the time, tinker around a little bit as the name goes, and see if I could get some of that Wi-Fi stuff ported, what the status of SDI was, or even just SPI, so I could use, what am I talking about? Yeah, SPI. So I could use external SD card or SPI Ethernet or something like that, but no go. So anyway, thought I'd follow these instructions, nice and simple, and compile my own and flash it. Got into make menu config, and it says target architecture, enable single precision floating point, double precision floating point, set it to LP64D. Do that under toolchain. Now, I noticed that when I had a look before, and I did cat proc CPU info, it says it's an RV64 IMA FDC, off the top of my head. And yet, it's missing a fair bit of that. So, base integer, we've got our target architecture we've set there. I is basic. We're not using integer multiplication division, even though the M is in the architecture. We're not using atomic instructions, we just enable F and D, and we're not even using compressed instructions. So, I thought, I'll go ahead, enable these other things that it's supposed to support, because the more of the hardware that's built in to this thing, the more of that core that you can actually use, the better performance you're theoretically going to get. So, went ahead, saved that, did my build. I'm doing this in, as you can see, in my Ubuntu fresh WSL2 environment, because for whatever reason on this laptop, I just broke dual boot really badly the other day. So my Mint 23 install doesn't boot anymore. And again, I don't have the time to fix it. That's a later me problem. So build this, you got your output, and I thought I'd come over here. You can see I tried the release from BL808, the official, and I compiled it myself. I tried the release from OpenBouffalo, and I compiled it myself. Now these will perform much the same, but I thought I'd quickly show you anyway. Once it's built, you've got this output images folder, and in here you got a whole pile of different things because you can customize a fair bit of it. All you really need from here is the firmware, the D0, the M0, and the SD card image. So I copied them across into here. And what we're going to do is put this one back on these two pins so we can flash it, hold the boot, and reset that. Now on the computer, I'm going to close PuTTY because that's holding my COM port open. You have to use BL DevCube 1.8.3 now. This is really important. I couldn't get 1.8.1 that I used before to work, and 1.8.4 does not work. So if we go to MCU, you'll notice that the instructions are a little bit different too. So specifically, they're using group 0 for both, just with two separate addresses for the images. So if we change that to group 0, set this offset, and then we'll go and grab these compiled, what's that one? M0, and then D0. Yep, got the right ones. So COM7, 2 million, both group 0, 58 and a bit, 58.1. Let's flash this bad boy, give it a hot minute, and we'll do the next step. All right, next IoT. Now the official one uses D2000, but they've got the kernel running off the SD card now, which is actually a great improvement because with the kernel not being flashed to the SPI memory, means the package manager that comes with this whenever it's set up, whatever package management you prefer, can update the kernel. That wasn't possible before. So make sure you pay attention to flashing this image where it's got to go. Grab your image from your self-built folder, which is that one, and again, Flasharoo. That's not an Australian colloquialism, that's just me making garbage words up, by the way. Don't go say that Aussies down under say Flasharoo. I mean, maybe they do. What's Google Trends say? Yeah, right. Doesn't exist. Worldwide. It's not a thing. What about ESBC? Wonder if I've just been talking crap with that new term. Yeah, that's been a bit of a term. All right, let's see this kick back up. Let's start some trends. Now that's flash. So the last thing we want to do, grab your SD card, your SD card reader, stick them in, and then this is going to go in this side of the laptop. And for this, if I could find the USB port, we're going to fire... Oh, just undo all this Windows crap. I did find a way to turn that off recently, but then I apparently undid it. So, Balena Etcher, flash from file, self-built SD card image. Grab this. Now I've got these 32 gig Lexar SD cards, micro SD cards on my store as well. They're pretty cheap. I think they're like $9 each or something. If you want to help support me and get them, everything just goes through Australia Post. By default, I'll throw it in a little satchel and off she goes. But if you do want Express, I do have Express options. But they are actually fairly quick. I was amazed. I bought a few of them, was really happy. So I bought like 20 more so I can have some stock and use them for all of my different things. Because I don't want to keep swapping SD cards. But we'll let Balena do its thing. We'll skip the verification because this isn't going to be used in production use and because I'm impatient. And then we'll see what she does. Whilst that's flashing, Pine64, you've got to catch up too. You make great products. I'm obviously a fanboy. I've got the Pine64 A64. I think there's an LTS one and a case. This is an excellent board that can actually do a lot. The A64H. So would recommend. It is a bigger form factor, but I mean, it's basically a computer, hey? It's got bloody heaps built into it. Excellent for running Home Assistant, in my personal opinion. Also got the So Edge. So this is a 3... Well, I'm having a brain blank. What's 3 tops? Can't even think of the word, sorry. It's Friday. I need to go to the pub. 3 tera operation neural module that also has a embedded processor. So this has got RAM, a TPU, and a CPU all in one, and it's in a SODIMM form factor. So this actually has quite a few different options in how it can be used, but you can get this baseboard for it, which I got. So this gives you a Pi 2 and a Pi 5 bus. You've got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth slots. You've got power, Ethernet, MIPI, USB 3. Pretty much like, can you see the similarities? Can you see the same form factor there? So they've done something similar, but it's got PCI Express, which is bloody awesome. So this I'm looking forward to playing with. Want to start doing some more AI stuff with PyTorch. I'm learning a bit more Python. I've then also just been completely delving into it with the Ox64, ROC64. If I bring these up, I can probably give you a bit of focus so you can see some better detail. So that's the ROC64 there. Again, pretty stock standard, but these are a good, reliable unit. Takes eMMC as well, which is handy. Again, with the infrared, so you can use these for a lot, like controlling things in your house. If you're getting a Home Assistant set up, you can use it to turn anything infrared, like your TV, aircon, on and off, which is great. I've got the NUT 01S, which is, you can kind of see it in the bag there. It's a lot like the ESP 01S that AO, I think, are made. It's just essentially a serial Wi-Fi module. I've got some of the NUT 12Ss. Now, if we have a look back on the page I had open over here, these are the BL602. So these have wireless ABGN or BGN, 2 meg flash, pretty stock standard, really low power, really handy. You can embed them in anything, well, if you're good enough. I've also got their BL602 dev module. If I put it in front of the camera there. So you can see it's just got a little board with castalized edges that's just been added onto a bit of a parent board, a daughter board, parent board situation with a USB port. And that's just a neat little thing to prototype anything with a 602 as well before you go and flash something that's a little bit harder to deal with. And then I couldn't help myself. I had to actually get what they call the Pine Seed. So this is their BL602. Yes, that wants to, easy to disappear. One good breeze and they're gone. That is their little MCU there. So I intend on embedding these at one point or developing with them. I'm a little bit sour on Bouffalo Labs and how they're going with all their bloody embargo stuff, but they do make a really good product. So like, they're using those T-head cores, which are really quite good. They're being picked up more and more by different, by different organizations like Mango, Pi, like Milk V, like, geez, who else? SciSpeed. So there's a lot of opportunity there. And as the 602s, 808s, things like that have the 907s and the C906s, I think it is, in there. These are going to be really easy to integrate, or at least I'm hoping. Now, that SD card is done. So if we pop that out, come back to our board, we'll stick that in here. We'll plug the USB back in, and we should see that light come on. That's what we want. So on the computer, very similarly, pull up PuTTY like last time, launch that same saved setting I've got like last time. If we power cycle it, we'll see that secondary core. It's just letting us know that it started. They've got a few keys there, the flash config, and then they've got the mailbox for the interrupt requests that they're passing between the two cores, because one core's got like the secondary core that's not really used. It's got all the multimedia stuff attached to it. So they're passing things back and forth in this way with an IRQ mailbox. Now, if we put these over onto here and reboot it, and if we restart the session, so you can see here straight away, Xlinux has given us those options. Now I'm not happy with that. Can we bugger off for a tick? Make it a little bit easier to see. So, there we go. She's booting up. Pressing the key to stop auto boot. So I want to go with 1, which is your Ox64, and they're referring to there as the 0x64, which I think is interesting. You got the M1S dock support as well. So if we hit enter, pulls a Linux image for that model. So in theory, that was quick. That was really quick. In theory, you can use that same image, the same SD card for a lot of different products, which would be really handy. That gets rid of my SD card problem I was talking about. So root, -A, there's your 6.2 kernel, cat proc CPU info. There is our IMA FDC, so it's right core. a T-head C906. 3 minus M, still only using 9 meg of RAM. Now you'll see here they've got a gig of swap. I got an issue with this and I just want to talk about swap for a minute. Specifically SD cards, SPI, things like that, NAND and NOR flash. So SPI is NOR flash, which means these SPI modules that they've got on here, you can actually write to quite a bit. They don't have the wear issues that SD cards have. However, enabling swap means you're going to have these very frequent writes to memory, which is on this SD card. You're going to wreck your SD card so quickly. So with a good conscience, I can't encourage you to actually enable swap. If you're going to enable swap, the closest I'd say is hack something together and use the few extra meg you've got here. Like we've got a whole, 16 meg or so on there. Use that as your swap, all the spare space there. Don't use your SD card unless you've got a bloody good SD card, because you'll kill it. And even then, I still wouldn't recommend it. You can run a WordPress site with PHP with only 32 meg of RAM. You don't need a gig of RAM like people think. That is ridiculous, especially for embedded applications. So I would not recommend swap. NAND flash wears down very easily, is essentially a brick once it's done. NOR flash doesn't have the same issue. Just think about it. If you need it, you need it. Use it for development. Don't ever try to make something in production that is using NAND for your swap. You're going to have a sad time. But that is the lack of autofocus. That is the Ox64. I'm still coasting on this 2022 10 model. So this, geez, 2 days ago, this is a year old. Happy birthday, little fella. Or the design is at least. I've got stock if you want it. Thanks again to PCBWay for supporting it. Thanks to Pine64 for actually making all these cool products. It does allow me to have fun, you know, tinkering with stuff I enjoy, like programming and electronics, without it being my day-to-day. If you do like this, if you're still watching for some godforsaken reason, don't forget to like and subscribe, because it really does help. But also, leave a comment, let me know what you think. I'm constantly improving. I'm by no means good at this, but you all seem to enjoy it, or at least some of you do. The haters, if you really dislike it, hit dislike twice to make sure I notice. Or hit like if you just want to support someone that's trying. I can't even say that, I'm not really trying. Hit dislike if you want, I don't really care, folks. Take it easy, enjoy the start to summer or the start to winter if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. I'll catch you next time. Bye.